Colonel Rob Maness has a lifelong record of providing dedicated service to this nation. Having worked his way up from the enlisted ranks to full colonel, he served our country for more than 32 years. He has served as a bomber squadron commander, bomb disposal technician, Joint Chiefs of Staff Operations Officer, assisted the National Security Team with the campaign plan for the global war on terrorism. He authored the first theater nuclear war plan and served as the Vice Commander of America's largest airborne intelligence wing. Colonel Rob Maness is a true American hero. This is Rob Maness Live.
One of the patrons who stepped forward to help was Adam Smith, a former Green Beret. Adam transformed the parking lot of a Harley-Davidson dealership into a makeshift airbase to help distribute supplies. Did an incredible job, Adam. What an amazing act of citizenship and service. And I think Adam might be here. Where's Adam? Adam, come on up here. Say a few words, Adam. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Great job. I've seen him on television quite a bit. What a job you've done. Thank you.
Can I give you something for it?
Yes, thank you.
This little token for the guys.
Beautiful. Thank you.
That's been with us since the third day. That's for you. And this is the moniker they've given us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate it.
Please.
I just want to say thank you for coming. Thank you for everybody here. The biggest fear that Western North Carolina is sitting on right now, at least from the communities we've talked to, is being forgotten. And to have you here and have an opportunity to have this conversation at a national level will keep Western North Carolina on the map and not leave the communities holding the bag on the back end of this. So we're very grateful that you've shown up, and we're very grateful that you've taken the time. We're also appreciative in the timeline that you did it. It gave us space to operate and function and gave us space to provide relief where it needed to go. And we're very grateful for that, Mr. President.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Great job.
Americans who love our country and each other, we're going to win. You know, this is normally Training Tuesday, but I'm just going to call it Truth Day. And the Rob Maness Show is live on Worldview Tube and X-Space's simulcast. And folks, I flew over every state of this nation for 3 decades as a military enlisted man and officer. I never saw red states or blue states. I only saw red, white, and blue states. I've seen Americans spill their blood for America with my own eyes. Americans of every race, every creed, or whatever else one wants to identify them by. And the only color of that blood is red. Their blood is the physical manifestation of the last full measure of devotion that millions of Americans have given freely for all of us, this nation, the greatest gift God and mankind have ever given to humanity. We did that because we were able to put aside our differences and unite around one set of core ideas, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. On October 27, 2024, what we witnessed and tens of thousands of Americans attended was representative of the millions of us that are left in this country who will still sacrifice our very lives, our sacred honor, and our fortunes to preserve those values and this country for our children and grandchildren. The leftist and establishment authoritarians currently holding power in our government chose to call us all Nazis because of the rally in Madison Square Garden, because they have chosen a path that is indefensible in civil discourse. We will fight them. We must fight them with every tool at our disposal. This show is one of those tools because we present the truth about the Americans that still believe and will continue to do so until I am unable to speak into this microphone. To help us all tell some truth today, we've got Mr. I'm Fired Up himself, former U.S. Navy Seabee, firefighter, podcaster, and a true South Carolina American, Chad Caton with us. Chad, welcome back to the Rob Maness Show.
Well, Colonel, I don't know about you, but after that, I could go out and kick somebody's ass real quick. That was a hell of an intro, and I feel every word that came out of you. I've seen a lot. We're in trouble.
Yeah.
and we have to put Donald Trump in that White House. There is no way around it.
Yeah. You know, what struck me with that opening video is, and now you understand why I texted to you after I had laughed at our text where I was trying to get Adam Smith on on my little show, is that I see that he's going to be a little busy with media, so he doesn't need me.
I will help you get
that
Adam. We'll help you get Adam. We actually talked to him yesterday, so we'll get
yeah,
Adam
that's
on
fine.
for
yeah,
everybody.
Yeah.
I promise.
That's fine. I only point that out because I watched him do that with the president. And here's what stands out to me there. And I don't know if you guys were there watching it. I hope you were standing right there with him, because that man, Donald Trump, he's a city boy from Brooklyn, but he grew up on construction sites too. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he's standing literally on a construction site the size of frickin' Belgium.
Yeah.
Which is what's going on in Western North Carolina. And he's comfortable there. And he may be wearing a suit and tie and everything, but he deferred to Smith and even made a joke. I've seen him on TV a lot lately. That's the Donald Trump that people that are called cultists, in a pejorative sense by the lamestream media, but people that are voting for Mr. Trump and believe in the policies that he implemented, most of them in the 45 administration, and all of us are here because that's the man we see right there, not the man that's being portrayed. And then to just take Adam Smith there, who is, look, he's a retired military guy. He's an Army soldier, right? Who did what we do. It's what we Americans do. He created a landing zone and a logistics hub out of what? A Harley-Davidson shop?
A Harley-Davidson shop that was flooded. Yeah. And he actually got FAA to make that landing spot where we landed our Blackhawks and Robinsons and Lakotas, and he actually made that area FAA controlled. They had guys out there with radios, and it was amazing to watch, though, Colonel, because it was like walking into a really bad, almost comedic military movie set. Everybody's walking around in boots and silkies. For you ladies that don't know what silkies are, those are little running shorts, and everybody's walking around with a ruck or they've got their 782 or their full-on plates and backpacks and combat boots. And I mean, it was special forces for days up in there with Adam. You know, I was in there with Boone Cutler. We went in there. We actually flew the Black Hawk that took me and Boone to set up logistics in some of these outlying areas that you couldn't get to by road. We landed there in Savage, actually refueled ourselves. And then at the same time, we're able to bring our data to Savage Freedom, the Savage, what they called Savage Freedom, which was that airfield. And we were able to bring that logistics to them so that they could do constant by going to specific areas, be it relief or Poplar or these other outlying areas. And we gave them real intel from our trip to going up into the hill. And it was a real FOB, a forward operating base. I mean, it was nice to be around, back in it again, if you will. And the camaraderie was pretty dope. There's a lot of the looking at each other like, what were you in? Were you Special Forces? And were you? I was the only Navy dude in the whole place, I think. You know, and I just walked around and said I was a CB, and they're like, shit, I owe you a beer for this and this and this and this. So I got a lot of pats on the back and a lot of love from my SF boys that were there with Adam. But it's a phenomenal. He deserves the Congressional Medal of Freedom, in my opinion, and I do not say that lightly. Especially when somebody like Joe Biden's gotten it, Obama and the rest of these idiots. You need to give it to Adam Smith, and it needs to be given to him right after Trump gets in, because he has been this stalwart leader in everything that's happened in North Carolina, especially there in Western North Carolina.
Wouldn't it be something if President Trump broke from tradition and awarded that during his inauguration speech?
I would hope to be.
That would be something, wouldn't it? Somebody clip that out and send it to the Trump organization, will you? That's what I think he should do. As a matter of fact, that doesn't break with tradition. He's going to be the commander-in-chief of the United States Armed Forces, and the Congressional Medal of Freedom is the highest honor you can get for a non-military person in this. And Adam Smith has been both. Maybe we should give him a Medal of Honor too. at the same time. That would be precedent setting. It's never happened before. And you know what? If a frickin' actor, an actress can get it, no offense to Ronald Reagan intended, but
Sure.
if a frickin' actor and actress can get it over and over again just because they spread money on a president like Joe Biden and Barack Obama and anybody else, then certainly Adam Smith should get the Congressional Medal of Freedom and the Medal of Honor. I'll just go ahead and say it. Give him the Medal of Honor too, sir.
You're right.
That would be amazing. An amazing re-entry of the United States of America into what it's supposed to be, the shining city on the hill, the beacon of freedom and prosperity and liberty, instead of the dark, dank place that we live today that's censorship and oppression and moms having to choose between putting gas in their car to get to work and buying groceries for their babies. That's where we're really at today. Wouldn't that be something?
It would be something. And what it really would say to the American people and to the entire world is that the United States of America is no longer going to prostitute what we think is important. A medal is going to mean something. It is not going to be given to some pedo from Hollywood because he happened to send money or help you during your campaign. No, it's going to mean something. We talk about medals. We talk about our Love Me wall. I'm one of the very few military guys, and so is Colonel Maness, that don't have all of our awards and crap behind us. I got pictures of my dog because that's what means something to me right now. I don't need you to say that I'm a war hero or that I'm a this. I just need you to hear what we're saying, and that's the truth. And somebody like Adam Smith, who just dug himself out of Swannanoa and decided to go up to a Harley Davidson grassland and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to put a fob here. I'm going to get my buddy who's good at comms. I'm going to go to the FAA and say this needs to happen, and I'm going to start asking helicopters to come in. NASCAR, you crushed it. We had Joe Gibbs helicopter there. We had Roush Racing. We had Hendrick. They all started coming in with their helicopters. Then came Corey Mills and his helicopters with Mercury One. And then old Black Betty, the only privately owned Black Hawk in the United States, came rolling on in and started doing work. And we are proud to be a part of that operation with Black Betty. And I'm just telling you right now, man, what he did and what he accomplished and the people he saved. That's the most important. The people he saved is nothing short of amazing, and it will tell the American people and the planet that America is going to do what's right, and we're gonna honor the right people for honor, courage, and commitment. We are veterans, and we don't have an expiration date. And Adam Smith showed that in all of his grandeur in what he did there at Harley Davidson and Swannanoa, which took me almost 2 weeks to learn how to say.
I'm still learning how to say it.
Just want to know.
So before we get to this break here in a couple of minutes, how many lives do you think he saved, Jed? Can you quantify it?
I can't. I'd like to say some stupid overt number, but really, Colonel, does it matter? If we know it's more than one. And he did that on his own board, and he got all the other veterans from all over the country, and they all just came down there and said, not on our watch. It's not going to happen. I watch people get in people's, government agencies would come by. They actually had security at the road and said, nah, we're not really wanting you in here. Thanks. Have a good day. We already had that.
Now he did let the
so we did.
He did. The commander of the 18th Airborne Corps did land there and chat with him, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and he was so impressed that he actually put two of his it's like the mountain jeeps they have, the mountain buggies. They would come in, they could put 14 guys on there, and they're all hanging off this thing all over the place. And they came in every morning and they did whatever Adam Smith needed them to do. And that's what was great is that that commander, I believe it was a colonel, was very, very cool and loved what was happening. And then that's when Heel Corps and myself and Boone took the same concept, and we wanted to do on a further away airfield there and help organize that with two amazing people in Dan and Paula Nunez and set up the Avery Airfield.
Outstanding. We need to capture all this in a lessons learned for future people, because it'll happen again when all of us are gone. So we got to document it, man. I'm glad you guys were there with General Flynn last week, documenting. His voice will help us get the word out. But we got to keep Adam Smith and all those like him like you guys in the forefront of people's minds, because the people of Western North Carolina still need help. It's cold up there. It's snowing up there. They need propane. They need generators, those kind of things. Go find out. You can go to Heal Corps and their website and find that kind of information. And you can go to Cajun Navy, United Cajun Navy. You can go to the Samaritan's Purse. I think maybe Adam's got a website up too. It's Savage, right?
Savage
the
Freedom.
Savage LZ, Savage Freedom, those kind of things. So go help them out. They still need help. People are cold. They're hungry. They still have to have places to sleep. The folks that are helping still have to have places to be able to get some rest while they're resting up to continue to do that job. Well, we got to take a commercial break. We'll be right back. And all right, the gloves are off now. I'm not a frickin' Nazi. I'm fired up here because we're both fired up. This is BS. We're going to take them out for the rest of this show, and we're going to give them the whooping of their lives because we're Americans, and Americans who love this country and love each other like Adam Smith are the ones that are going to win. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Brandon House of WorldviewTube.com. Do you remember when Fox News left us hanging high and dry 4 years ago on election night? Well, I sure do. Well, why would you want to go back and watch them on election night? And you don't have to. You can come right here, WorldviewTube.com. We're going to have with us live in studio Leo Holman, Colonel Rob Maness, Garland Favorito, on location at Mar-a-Lago, Roger Stone reporting. And we'll be getting updates and reports from the head pollster at Rasmussen, Mark Mitchell. Tell your family and friends and join us beginning at 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern on election night, November 5th. WorldviewTube.com. You can also watch us on your flat screen television. Just go to Roku, type in WorldviewTube, and before you can finish typing it, it'll pop up. Save us as a favorite on your home screen of Roku and watch us right there on your flat screen television. Or watch us through our iOS app, WorldviewTube. WorldviewTube.com. Tell your friends. WorldviewTube, committed to helping you understand the times.
But that jamboree happening right now, you see it there on your screen, in that place is particularly chilling because in 1939, more than 20,000 supporters of a different fascist leader, Adolf Hitler, packed the garden for a so-called pro-America rally, a rally where speakers voiced anti-Semitic rhetoric from a stage draped with Nazi banners. When a Jewish protester rushed the stage, the Associated Press reported, quote, instantly, a dozen or more stormtroopers set upon him, knocking him down and beating him as he held his head in his arms. Most of his clothing was torn from his body. Later, he was booked for disorderly conduct. Now, against that backdrop of history, Donald Trump, the man who has threatened to use the military against opponents he calls enemies from within, who has threatened to use the troops to quell what he says are lawless cities, and to use those troops to carry out mass deportations of immigrants, is once again turning Madison Square Garden into a staging ground for extremism.
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show on WorldviewTube and our X Spaces simulcast. And my guest today is Chad Caton, host of I'm Fired Up, former CB, firefighter, great American from South Carolina, political operative. I'll call him an operative because he is. He understands politics and Republican politics in South Carolina better than anybody I know. Anybody. Even the people in office, probably more, especially those people. But he also understands what that video clip really means. And what that video clip really means is the mass media in this country, not us, the little guys that are independent media, but the mass media, the legacy media, the regime media, the corporate media is pushing a narrative that's a lie. It's an absolute lie. There were tens of thousands of people in Madison Square Garden on Sunday. They were black. They were Hispanic. They were Jewish. There were more yarmulkes in the videos that I saw on Israeli flags than I've ever seen at any rally for any political candidate. So Jewish people, They're celebrating this man, this movement, this thing called Make America Great Again. No, it's just America. This show's titled Americans who love America and love each other as Americans are going to win. Those devils that are in that video talking, trying to present that false narrative, they're going to lose. They're going to lose so badly that they're going to regret ever saying that. Chad, welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. I'm sorry I went on a little bit long there, but I'm fired up today. This is really ridiculous at this point. What say you?
Colonel, I could not. Look, these people are disgusting. To sit there and say that all of those Americans in New York, and see what pisses them off so much is that you are in their grand big ol' apple, right? You're right down in the middle of where they all hunker down and eat rats, and they're excited about every bit of what New York has. We own New York. Oh, New York is blue. And then MAGA came to town. And then their whole world went to, excrement. They had a problem, and they got exposed for it. And what they do, they came out and called us Nazis. Well, there was a black lady did the national anthem in there. Not real. I'm not real up on my Nazi culture, but I don't remember black Americans doing a whole lot with the Nazis other than Jesse Owens kicking Adolf Hitler's ass in Germany. That's the last time I heard of a black guy doing anything with the Nazis. So for them to sit there and call us Nazis just goes to show how much of an abject failure they are, how much of a worthless candidate they have inputted into the position, because she's never gotten a vote. And they know how very bad that she is. They know how very bad they are looking in the early vote. So what do? They go for the creme de la creme, try to put the Nazis in with us in Madison Square Garden. Well, you know who was there first, Colonel? You know who was there before us and actually took the Democratic nomination? Bill Clinton. So welcome to the Third Reich, Bill. Because apparently if you speak at Madison Square Garden, you're automatically a Nazi. This goes to show you how very scared they are. And one of my favorite theories in the world is FAFO. And that's what they're finding out right now. The finding out part's coming November 5th.
Yeah, today, I think it's today. Harris is in D.C., right? Giving her closing statement. And it's all about the fake narrative from January 6th, just like the fake narrative from the Madison Square Garden rally. If that's all they have, is that, and they have no other argument to make people want to vote for them, what does that say about the left in this country and the establishment?
Because their policy is garbage. Their policy is total garbage. Wait, I like guns. I have a gun. So does the stolen valor Tim Walz. We have guns. We're not taking your guns. Literally, a week prior to her taking it was the White House put it out on Instagram that we're coming for your ban. We want to ban assault rifles, whatever the assault rifle is. They're still not talking about assault hammers. Have you ever been to Lowe's? There's some serious hammers on the wall up there, like serious. And we shouldn't be rude about it because Nancy Pelosi's husband got had an assault hammer. This is something that they can't even get out of their own way. This is the best part because all they can throw at us is Project 2025. How many people have to say that's not anywhere near? Plus, the person that wrote Project 2025 actually just went out and endorsed Kamala. You can't make this up. But you know who they're playing to, Colonel? They're not playing to you. They're not playing to me. They're not playing to the people on WorldTube Network. They're not playing to the folks on Twitter. They're playing to the low-hanging retards that are sitting out there believing this BS. That's what's pathetic. That's where we are right now, is that the dumbest part of our society is sitting back right now going, oh my God, there are Nazis. They had a Nazi party at the Madison Square Garden. Burn down Madison Square Garden. Burn it all. That's what you just did. You just became the fascists you call us. You cannot make this up. And it's only because we have allowed our education system to make so many very stupid people. And now it's got to the point of danger. And that's where we are today. Sorry.
Yeah, and as And as no, you're right on point, Chad. Believe it or not, I can't believe I said that. Yeah, you're right on point. I mean, not every day are we both on the exact same target. Okay, and you're right on point. Even Mayor Adams, the African American mayor, and I don't use African American very often. I mean, if I want to identify as some segment, I usually say Black American, but. He said this Hitler thing on Trump is really, and I'm paraphrasing now, not quoting, it's a dumb idea, and it's wrong. Even Mayor Adams, who is pretty left, I mean, he's not totally off the charts left like Kamala Harris and her ilk are, but he's pretty left. The mayor of New York City said it was the wrong thing to do. I mean, they have no. Go ahead.
I think after they started bringing up all the indictments, which Trump called, when he said this migrant thing's got to stop. As soon as he did that, Donald Trump goes, "Oh boy, they're going to indict the mayor." And sure enough, here they are indicting him. So I think he's doing the moonwalk back to the center. I don't think he's got so progressive anymore because he's looking for a friend. And Donald Trump even called it out and said, you know what? They did it. I'm called it. They said it. Welcome to the MAGA movement, mayor from New York. And he's upset the apple cart big time in New York. That's what's beautiful is that we have to, and that's what we've been saying forever, Colonel, expose, 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 expose. Let them be seen for who they are. Don't beat them up. Don't go out there and start crap. Be the type of Republican that is about law and order, but expose the bejesus out of them so that any of these low-hanging fruit, not too intelligent people will go, wow, I don't feel good about this. And then once you make them feel uncomfortable, they have a tendency to go the other way because, well, they're not that intelligent. So hopefully we can reach them with this and Mayor Adams can in New York.
And that's the beauty of free speech. We're so blessed to live in a country where I can actually say free speech on a public communication line, and the police aren't knocking on the door immediately. Now, they may come later, but the beauty of free speech is that it exposes the totalitarians. It exposes the freaks. It exposes the stupidity of their messaging. It exposes their hypocrisy. It exposes where they get their power from the more you let them speak. You know, the worst thing that the German elite could have done in the 1930s was imprison Adolf Hitler and suppress his speech because that left their elite, many of whom were Jewish people, with the sense that he had been suppressed enough to destroy his ideas. It actually has the opposite effect, which is why I am a free speech purist for the most part. I hate hate speech laws. Almost couldn't get that out. I've run for office against specifically a Republican that voted to pass hate speech laws because that's the wrong thing to do. And Kamala Harris is going to be on the mall in D.C. at the Capitol today railing against the free speech patriots that marched on that Capitol on January 6th. Set aside that there was some small riots that broke out. And nobody knows exactly which side acted first, to be honest with you. Even with all the video and all the witnesses, nobody really knows because we can't get the damn truth out. We can't get all the facts together. Not even through the courts we can't. But she's going to be railing against stopping people from expressing their opposition to the regime's policies. That's what she's going to be railing against, and she's going to be saying, see, you must stop Donald Trump because we made up this insurrection narrative, and he's an insurrectionist, even though he's never been charged with insurrection. He couldn't even been charged with seditious conspiracy, and they did do that with those fake charges against the Proud Boys and the 3 percenters that were up there, some of them. It actually put Enrique Tarrio in jail for 18 years, I think. It's crazy what they've been able to get away with. But she's railing against free speech. She's supporting the opposite of what the United States of America stands for and what every American that I talked about in my openings, blood has been spilled into dirt around this world over and over and over again to protect. That's why they're losing, isn't it?
Well, they're losing me for all of those reasons, and the fact that the American people have been able to go to the bank and pay for their groceries and their gas, and at the same time realized the minute Donald Trump was out, all of a sudden there's hell in the Middle East. There's a war in Ukraine, and all of a sudden now you've got Congress talking about we can't fill our coffers in our enlistment in the Army and the Marines and the military. So we need to talk about bringing back the draft. For anybody that is under the age of 21 that votes for Kamala Harris, just on that alone, you're setting yourself up to be the next bullet sponge for the United States of America Democratic Party, or commie, whatever you want to call them. That's where we're at right now. And the abject failure of this administration, and they're actually trying to double down with Kamala, is utterly ridiculous. And I heard it on Bongino today. If you're voting against Donald Trump because you don't like him, you're an idiot. You don't care about us firefighters, do you? You don't care if I'm a good person when I show up to your house and you tell me your baby's in the second story. All you give a flip about is that I take that ladder, hit that second story, and go through that window like the frickin' Kool-Aid man and get your baby out. That's what we need in this country right now. That's what this planet needs right now for the American people. And I'll be damned if it's going to be Kamala, because the American people, as much as it seems many of them are very triggered and dumb, I do not believe that overwhelmingly this country is going to put such a commie, progressive idiot in the White House. And it's going to happen November 6th, and we are going to see history be made and the direction of this country in the right direction finally. It'll happen so quickly, people won't even know where to go, because Donald Trump knows where the bathrooms are in the White House. He knows where the office is, so he's not going to need you can take all the NDOC out, right? Now you just walk in there and start throwing pins everywhere and saying, here's what we're going to do. That's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. It's going to be so awesome. We got to take another break, Chad. When we get back, maybe somebody will have the courage to raise their hand and ask a question. I don't see any hands in the live audience right now. I don't know. Maybe it's a bunch of Kamala Harris supporters out there, and they're afraid. We invite you, Kamala Harris supporters, to ask a question and challenge the ideas of America. Challenge us, because you'll lose. You'll lose, lose, lose. And we're going to fight you until you lose over and over again with those bad ideas. We'll be right back on Worldview Tube and X Spaces simulcast right here with Chad Caton.
We live in uncertain times. In fact, we live at a time when our own governments all over the world are warning us that there could be big problems with our power grid. World War III seems to be right on the horizon. Let me ask you this. Do you have a satellite phone? Should communications go down with cell towers? Do you have a satellite phone to get a hold of that college student or your spouse who travels, whatever it might be, to get a hold of your senior adult parents? We have satellite phones at worldviewtalk.com, and you get the satellite phone for free when you sign up for their very reasonable payment programs for the service. Sign up for the service with a reasonable contract, get the satellite phone for free. Worldviewtalk.com. You'll also find they have, well, what I now have, which is a solar generator. Yeah, I have a gas generator, an LP propane generator, but what if that goes down? I want to back up to my backup. So I now have a solar generator as well. You'll find them at worldviewtalk.com. Check it out today, worldviewtalk.com.
The newest line from Kamala and her campaign is that everyone who isn't voting for her is a Nazi. We're Nazis. You know, years ago, my father, I had a great father, he's a tough guy. He used to always say, never use the word Nazi, never use that word. And he'd say, never use the word Hitler, don't use that word. It's like, I didn't even know why, don't use that word. And then I understood it. And yet they use that word freely, both words. They use it, he's Hitler. And then they say, he's a Nazi. I'm not a Nazi. I'm the opposite of a Nazi. I don't know. My father always used to tell me, don't use the word, you don't ever use the word Nazi. And, you know, it's incredible now. The way they talk is so disgusting and just horrible the way they talk. And they don't mean it even. They just want to do, they think that they can sell. They've called me everything from a mad genius looking to take over the world to a very, very stupid person. I've covered from stupid to mad genius that will eventually succeed in taking over the world. Now, these are bad people.
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show, and we're live on Worldview Tube and our X Spaces simulcast, and we're anti-Nazi. That's what we are. It's a sad thing that Mr. Trump has to tell the story about what his dad said to him, and it's very clear. His dad was right. I grew up that way too. My grandfather and my dad and my uncles and aunts would never use that word to refer to any American, ever. Or Hitler, any of those things. It's atrocious what's happening in this country with the left and those that are in power that aren't on the left that want to keep their power. Because trust me, it's not just Democrats that are behind this, folks. It's a lot of big money. It's a lot of establishment power. And they don't like that this man has the right message. And, it doesn't even have to be this man. I've run on that message before he ever ran for office, and it was successful to the point it scared the hell out of the establishment. So it's not just the man, but the combination of this man with his ability, his wealth, and his ability to sell the ideas is what's doing it. And it's got them running so scared that they're drilling this idea into half of the American people. And Chad Caton is my guest today. And Chad, what it's doing is it's causing things like we saw reporting late last night of a mail-in ballot box, a drop box in Washington State. I think it's in the 3rd Congressional District, where our friend Joe Kent, former Green Beret, is running against a Antifa-supporting Marxist who's in the office right now, was set on fire late last night. So that's just the tip of the iceberg, folks. We're starting to see shenanigans being played in Pennsylvania. And before we go on, I want to do a little bit, ask the question. If you're in Pennsylvania, have you voted yet? Let me read you. Here's a little letter. I got a letter from a young lady from Gen Z. You were talking about Gen Z, the young people in this country. She's working on Cliff Maloney's Pennsylvania ballot chase operation. And the PAC that I chair, Gator PAC, has raised millions to support the Trump effort and the MAGA effort in this election cycle. And we've invested well over $55,000 or $70,000 now into the PA chase operation. And her name is Faith. She says, I'm here in PA knocking doors with the PA chase program. The PA chase team is all in on doing the hard work on the ground, fighting fire with fire to match the Dem strategy on mail-in ballots. We are making great progress to get to knock 500,000 doors. Cliff let me know that you personally sponsored me. The money that we send to them sponsors these door knockers. My stipend, my housing, and gas cards. I am so grateful that you believe in saving America. Her words. When we win in Pennsylvania in November, we will have you to thank. No, I have you and your generation to thank, Faith. Your generation's guts are going to be on some foreign battlefield somewhere if you don't get this man put back in office. I guarantee it. Can't I, Chad?
You're absolutely right. And, man, we didn't even set this up. I even got me a Gen Zer. I went and found one on the street. Look, I pulled him in right here like this. Look at this alpaca.
Oh, bring him in.
See, look at that right there. Stand up. Cause you
aren't kidding. He is an alpaca.
He's an alpaca. That's his call sign, alpaca. This is my buddy Max. And let me tell you, he's a Gen Zer and trying to figure out life as he goes, but he's got a headset on so he can hear you. But this Max is one of those people trying to figure out the world, but at the same time, he is a staunch, and I mean staunch Trump supporter, and he's 18 this year. So hopefully we can get him in there to vote. We don't know. Do you see how you're not in the camera? You gotta focus. It's hard being around me, Colonel. We trying, but
get up close to him, Max.
Max, you've heard everything the Colonel said today. You're Gen Z. Tell America how you feel and why you had to vote. You have to vote for Donald Trump.
I mean, I don't want any wars. I mean, when Trump was in office, we had 4 years of peace. We didn't have any foreign wars going on. We figured out everything. And with Kamala being president, I don't think like she'll be in charge at all. Like someone else will be pulling the strings, and it won't be her because the way she's done her rallies, it's all teleprompt. It's all the same.
Yeah.
Basically, he said Kamala's full of shit.
Yeah, they see right through it. My youngest son is 20. My youngest son is 20, so he's that. And he came down the stairs last night and said, Mom, Trump was on Joe Rogan, and Hulk Hogan was at the rally. And she goes, how do you know who that is? And he looked at her and he goes, well, every young man in America watches the WWE. What are you talking about?
Sure, everybody knows who Hulk Hogan is, right?
I mean, we had no idea that he was paying attention. But they're paying attention because they know, they've seen enough. Even if they're not part of a military family, they've seen enough to know that moms and dads shouldn't have to choose between grocery money, gas money, and work to feed and clothe their children. It ought not to be that way, and it's not been that way under Donald J. Trump. And that, I think, it's a clear message, right, Chad? Harris and Biden broke it. Trump can fix it. I mean, he's got a record.
He's already got a record of showing that he can fix it. Man, one of my favorite stories of Donald Trump is the ice rink in New York. They spent millions of dollars and couldn't get it done. And Donald Trump said, hey, dummies, let me take care of this. I'll pay for it so we can get this historic ice rink to work in, I believe it was Central Park. I don't know. And he did it in it took them years, 10 years. They couldn't get this ice rink to work. Donald Trump had the thing fixed, up and ready to go within, I think it was 3 months. And then said, you know what? Take it out of the budget. I'm going to maintain it because you people are retards. I'm not going to allow you to deal with it. And I'm just going to keep maintaining it so that this historic monument here or the historic rink in New York is always going to work and it's going to be fine. This is who Donald Trump is. Donald Trump has more awards from the NAACP and all of the other NAN and, fake out Reverend Al Sharpton's group. They kept giving him all kinds of cool awards that line his office. And then the minute he came down that escalator, he turned into a Nazi, a white supremacist, a homophobe, you name it. What about, the list of things we've been called is ridiculous, along with Donald Trump. Yeah. And the sad part is he had 4 years with people coming after him the entire time, yet the entire planet was peaceful and we were prosperous. Mm-hmm. And that is why when you do go vote today, tomorrow, here, coming up, November 5th, make sure you vote down ballot. Don't just go in there and say, yay, and pump your Trump shirt and say, I voted for Trump. Vote down ballot all the way. I don't care if you like that Republican or not. Vote for them. Because if they're a Republican, we can call them out and we can get the rest of the caucus to get in their insides and give them a bunch of crap, too, for not doing what they're supposed to do as a conservative. If you choose not to vote for them, then you give an opening for the Democrats to take over the House, the Senate, or both, God forbid. And then we're just going to be dealing with a whole bunch of executive orders that are going to be flipped over as soon as a Democrat may get into office again, which I hope never happens.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that. We'll say it again before the show's over, hopefully, because that's critically important. You must vote down ballot. Look, Carrie Lake's out in Arizona. There's one way she's going to win, and it's called Donald J. Trump's coattails. You guys got to go vote for people. I mean, look, I've had to hold my nose 1,000 times when I had to vote for some of these people with R's by their name, but I have had to do it. All right, we finally got a hand up in the live audience. I must have shamed them into it. Go ahead, Shell, who's our great host over there.
Shell ain't scared.
All right, Colonel. Yeah, no, I am not scared. But I'd like to know what the alpaca Gen Z guy thinks of this. We have some breaking news. The emergency services in Bucks County, Pennsylvania have just shut down the voting line in Doylestown hours before closing time. Now, who exactly are the Nazis? Now they're stopping these lines. What is happening here, sir?
So let me translate. I speak Z. So basically, in Pennsylvania, one of the polling places shut down early, and we have to win Pennsylvania. How do you feel about that?
I mean, wait, did they shut down like the whole ballot?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's ridiculous. Like, why would they do that? I mean, like, unless we got something to hide or they're trying to do something else or like flip the ballots or cheat.
See, that's just it. We can't prove that they're doing that, but why give us the thought process, right?
Yeah, why?
Here is it, Gen Z, 18 years old, like when was your birthday?
September 28th.
September 20th. Just turned 18. He's brand new. Still smells like a brand new 18-year-old. Right? And this guy already figured it out. Like, well, that's stupid. They can change the vote. I mean, this isn't brain surgery. This isn't great punditry. This isn't political science. This is just straight up common sense. And here he is, brand new spanking 18-year-old, brand new man, if you will. And he just said, that's ridiculous. Why would you do that? And then he was able to quantify why it's ridiculous because of X, Y, and Z. They could be flipping votes. They could be doing this. They could be doing that. You figured it out, right?
Yes, sir.
So why do you think they're doing that in Pennsylvania? If you don't mind me taking over, Colonel, I gotta talk to him about this.
I mean, I
No,
feel
go
like
ahead. You got about 40 seconds.
to decrease Trump's votes by not getting as much votes into Pennsylvania by shutting down the ballot.
Because they have to win Pennsylvania. 40 seconds. He did it in 10. See?
Yeah. Pennsylvania's nickname is the Keystone State. And the reason why Gator Pack, and you can donate to Gator Pack at gatorpack.com, GATORPAC.com, folks. That's where we're putting the money right now is for these ballot chase operations and ground operations, because the reason why they need to win Pennsylvania is because we are winning Pennsylvania with those numbers. We're beating their butts in the mail-in ballot, where in 2020 they creamed us with it because we didn't have a plan. That's what's going on, and they know that Pennsylvania goes, Donald J. Trump gets the number of electoral votes that it needs from the Electoral College, which is over 270. We'll be right back. When we come back, we'll see a little clip that I titled, "We Are One People." And that's a message that we have, and they don't. They hate it. We'll be right back with Chad Caton on the Rob Maness Show, and it's Truth Day, and we are giving it.
Nation that we all love. We bleed the same blood, we share the same home, and we salute the same great American flag. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in, we will never give up, we will never, ever back down, and we will never, ever, ever, ever surrender. Together we will fight, 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 and we will win, win, win. We're going to win, win, win. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. And together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make
America great again. Thank you, New York. God bless you. God bless you all. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show, and it's Truth Day, and the truth is the Nazis are on the other side. That message is we are one people. It's my message. It's his message. It's my guest, Chad Caton's message. It's every American's message. The other side is the divisive side. They want to divide you to maintain their power. They want to divide you to continue to be able to send American kids to die on foreign battlefields that are not in America's interest. They want to divide you so that poor people stay poor. They want to divide you so they can murder little babies in the womb at their will. They want to divide you in order to keep your place. And that's not what Americans are. Americans are one people. We're unified. We have RFK Jr. endorsing Donald Trump. Tulsi Gabbard has joined the Republican Party in addition to endorsing Donald Trump. We are one people. And Chad Caton is my guest today. Chad, we got a couple of hands in the audience. You want to take a question real quick?
Let's do it.
Because we're coming down to the end of the show. All right, Shell, go ahead. Who's first? Cetra?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I will be super brief. I just wanted to let Shell know that I've got her back. You know, I can speak up because I'm just developing this confidence. At 38 years old, I'm learning I'm not a dumbass. I am officially an honor society student, and I share the Colonel's as well as Chad's enthusiasm. I am completely fired up, which is just freaking wonderful, you know, and yeah. Love America, love Donald Trump, and I was so enthusiastic about voting down ballot that when I saw a Democrat incumbent as the only option on the ballot, I was like, nah, fuck that noise. I clicked the button to put in a different name, and I wrote in my own name. So yeah, Republicans for the win, and you're right. All right, I'm going to be quiet now. Thank you. Have fun.
I thought I'd work at the sanitation commission. I wrote my name in there. I was like, who can take out the trash better than Chad freaking Caton? Me. So I wrote my name in there because I didn't know nothing about those morons. And they're rhinos anyway, and they try to manipulate the whole waste management thing. But I love that, Centra, and I love hearing other people find their voice. You know, I was just talking to Max off camera, and he was like, that was pretty cool. And that's what it is, man. Get out there. You feel it. You sit there. You sit around the water cooler, and you have these conversations. Go out there, grab yourself a microphone, find yourself a space, and tell the world. You never know the people that you might reach. And that's where I started long ago. And Shell will tell you, she saw me back on I can't remember the name of the app anymore, but she saw me back there, and I was talking to myself and two other people, just losing my mind, talking about how stupid the left is. And that's why we continue to go out there and put shine as the best disinfectant, be it the sunshine and the best disinfectant, especially for dirty communists. Well done, Cetra.
Oh, absolutely right. Well done, Cetra. Okay, we got another question. Is that Larry Brock with his hand up there, Shell?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Hey, I absolutely agree with you about uniting America. However, the aberrant behavior of Mayorkas and Garland, do you really feel that doesn't deserve some type of investigation and possible, I'm going to say, criminal recrimination?
Let's just put it this way, and then I'll let Chad take it after I say this. There will be consequences once Donald Trump gets elected, because every American that's a thinker that loves this country knows those two men are wrong. Mayorkas was actually impeached, and the person in charge of the Senate and the Republican in charge of the Republicans in the Senate didn't insist on him being tried as per the Constitution of the United States. So they violated their oaths of office. So, and then Chad, I'll throw it over to you, let you take it on. But that's absolutely right. But right now, we're focused on winning and fighting and getting this man and his people in Congress across this finish line. Go ahead, Chad.
And you're absolutely right, Larry. These people need to be held accountable. I've got a really cool friend that said he would be more than happy to be the Secretary of Retribution in General Michael Flynn and my buddy Ivan Reichland. I'm going to tell you right now, the American people, when Donald Trump gets back in there, and that's what the left is losing their mind about, they're afraid we're coming for them because we are. This is a country built on law and order. This is a country built on if you do wrong, no matter who you are to be tried and dealt with, especially when you are put in the most amazing position to protect the American people. The number one job of government is the protection of its people. We have never seen anything more egregious than what has happened at our border, and to the people that have lost loved ones because of this open policy at our border I believe, will be adjudicated in the court of law. I believe it's going to have to be, because if not, our republic will always have that hole in it if we don't deal with the higher echelon of our government that in fact did the dirty to this country. And those people need to be dealt with. And I pray to God every day that you find a General Michael Flynn back in that secretary position, or even better. And me and Boone were talking about when we were up in North Carolina. How about Attorney General? Let's make General Flynn the Attorney General. You don't have to be an attorney. Just make him the Attorney General. That's right. That would be super. I would love it.
Yeah. You still call him General. And, we've said for a long time, Larry, it's a great point because, the failure of the legal system will be the failure of the country. That happens in any country, but especially in this country. And Garland has to be held accountable, and he will be held accountable. I'm watching, and a reminder as to why is I'm seeing Steve Bannon having a press conference on the monitor here. I've got the sound turned down, but it's his press conference after he's released from 4 months in federal prison today, because he tried to do what every other person that's worked in the executive branch directly for the president did, is work through the legal process to make sure he didn't accidentally reveal executive privilege information when he was subpoenaed by Congress. And because of that, he was sentenced to prison after he was found guilty of obstructing that.
How many other subpoena. People right now? AOC didn't show up. We've had a bunch of people not show up to Congress. Right. None of them going to prison.
The last Obama Attorney General didn't show up, and he was found in contempt of Congress. He was never charged. So they're broken and abused the legal system, and that will lead, if not held accountable, that will definitely lead to the failure of this nation, because there's a reason why the founders built the judiciary branch separate into this country, and a reason why the executive controls the Department of Justice. And I think you will see Donald Trump break the faux independent DOJ mindset that the narrative tries to push when a Republican's in office, but doesn't give a damn about when a Democrat's in office. And he's going to push through it and shatter it for all time. And it should be. He should be talking to whoever he appoints as Attorney General every single day, so that Attorney General is right on track to hold all these people accountable, because there's a boatload of them, isn't there, Chad?
Yeah, and I think you're going to see a lot of that with Elon and the rest of his cabinet. You got to remember, when Donald Trump takes that office, which he will, he's a lame duck. He doesn't have to kiss anybody's ass. He's in there to win for 40 years and do the right thing. And you know what? The mainstream media, the enemy of the people, and the people that have been allowing these people across the border, you should run. Run.
They should be very afraid. Not that somebody's going to come physically hurt them, but they're going to be held accountable. Can you imagine when Howard Lutnick and Elon Musk are sitting in the Doge office, wherever they choose to put it? Maybe it'll be at a McDonald's, where they temporarily hole up in a McDonald's to have their meetings or something. Can you imagine those two guys taking apart this massive Leviathan that has too much power, that does its own will against the American people, Chad? I'm so looking forward to that. There's going to be so much popcorn popped as we watch this happen. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Well, Diesel's excited, and I am. And since you said that we're not talking about violence, we're not. So I want to say hello to my FBI agent that listens to me all day. Thank you for diligently following me, and I hope you enjoyed my conversation I had with Max earlier about America. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you, man. Well, we got about a minute left. Chad, give us your final thoughts. I'm going to rerun this show this coming Thursday as part of the closing message for the campaign from our perspective, you and mine. And by the way, Chad and I are both on the Veterans for Trump Coalition for the campaign as media surrogates, and we're honored to work for Gunnery Sergeant retired Jesse Jane Duff as volunteers, and we appreciate everybody's help getting the word out, especially all the veterans in this country. Go ahead, Chad. Parting thoughts and where they can find Heal Corps and those kind of things to help people out.
HealCorps.org. I'm fired up. #2 on Twitter. Now, with that being said, America, we have one shot at this. We have one shot where we go out and get this back. We have one opportunity for you to take a little bit of time into your own heart, your own family, your own community. Look at your grandchildren. Look at your children. Look at your dog. I don't care. Whatever motivates you to go stand in that line right now and early vote. And then if you didn't get it done, get your butt to the poll November 5th. I don't care if your boss tells you you can't. Call me, and we'll make sure he understands that you have the legal right to go vote on that day and go do it. We have one shot at this because I assure you, everybody, the other way we fix this, nobody will like. Nobody. We have one opportunity to save this republic and what it is, and it ends November 5th. Go make sure your voice is heard and do it right.
Go vote. Chad Caton, he's fired up. I'm fired up. We're going to win. But we got to run like we're 10 points behind and vote like you're 10 points behind. So go vote and take people to go vote on Election Day on November 5th. Tomorrow, Whistleblower Wednesday. Communist Congressman Benny Thompson from my home state. He's got a challenger, U.S. Army man, and Physician's Assistant Ron Eller. He'll be on the show tomorrow as my guest. I'll see you then.
Please go join the vault and get access to 20 plus years of programming, radio shows, TV shows, ebooks, audiobooks, transcripts, and more, and start live streaming Friday night, our Ozark event, Saturday, and then Sunday morning. Join the year at the year rate. Join at the year rate, and you can live stream the entire weekend. And by the way, we're going to be doing some more live streaming only events in the coming weeks, because we've got to increase our memberships to this vault, because we've got to generate the revenue to bring in the $40,000 a month that it costs us to run this network. Hard cost. That does not include my compensation in that $40,000, my salary, my time. That's just my hard cost of paying everybody else, and all the bandwidth bills, all the utility bills, all the insurance, all the different licenses we have to have, from B-roll footage to all the artwork, the editors, all of it, the associate producers. It's $40,000 a month, right around that ballpark, to keep this network going. I need your support. Go join the Worldview Tube right now at the year level, please, and then stream this weekend. Worldviewtube.com/vault, worldviewtube.com/vault. $95.88 a year. I should have thousands upon thousands of you that are members at $95.88 a year to join. That's a very reasonable one-year price for all we give away. So please go join right now, worldviewtube.com/vault. Please go do that right now. It's vital that we have your support. Good evening. Welcome to the Worldview Financial Report. It is Monday night, August 28th, 2024. And here we are. We're going to be here tonight, Monday night, and Tuesday night. We will not be here Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, because we all have to get on over to the Ozarks for the big Ozarks Worldview Weekend. Big Ozarks Worldview Weekend this weekend, our 21st annual conference. And you can join us still by registering at wvwtvstore.com. I saw a headline tonight, before we go to the Bad News Bears, I saw a headline tonight on Fox News. Went through the room, was walking through the room, the TV was on, and it was The Five was on. And the headline, lower third, Americans have anxiety about traveling during the election cycle. And I'm like, I already know that. We've been telling you now since October 1st, we're going to let you live stream if you get a 1-year membership to the vault, worldviewtube.com/vault. Because so many people said to us, we'd like to attend, but we're scared to travel. We heard that from so many people. Someone actually said to me yesterday, they're scared to travel to the conference. I said, yeah, if I wasn't hosting the event, I wouldn't be going because I don't know what these characters got planned in and around the election. So we picked a bad date. Apparently this weekend is cursed. I don't know. We'll see. At least it didn't fall on Friday the 13th. We gotta definitely figure out something next year. In fact, I already have. Big announcement here. Let's go to the Bad News Bears. They're going to want to be a part of this. Announced it today at 1 o'clock Central. Guys, welcome to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Well, good to see you, Brandon. Good evening to all. Wes, and I want to make a little announcement. Wes and I did a complete study of the use of Belagrace, actually, and how you've been using it, and we've been watching your hair expand and expand. And Reagan, we've tried to pick up a future look of how you will look like maybe a couple of years from now with Belagrace.
Really?
Reagan, can you throw that picture up there, please?
That's my Donald Trump. That's my Donald Trump haircut in a few years.
Wow.
Yeah, that's me and Donald. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Donald Trump.
Strong hairline there.
It is. Yeah, I wish it would drop down that far. I bet you do. I bet you do too, Wes.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah. And rumor has it, Brandon, just so you know, rumor has it that today is Michael Weiner's birthday.
Is it really? 99 years old today? You think you'll make it to 100? You think I'll make it to 100 next year, Michael?
8 years old. It's great. I was there, at the revolution, everything. It's really
No, I thought you were only 99. I mean, come on.
Oh, 99 times 3.
Okay,
But the number.
there you go. I saw a guy the other day. Someone claims it was 115. I'm like, really?
Who's on it? Me?
No. Somebody online. I was on social media. Someone claimed to be 115. Right. Yeah. Hey, you know what? I came to the news desk without my phone. Reagan, can you get them to bring me my phone? Well, who do you think? Yes. Who brings me who brings me everything? He's like, who do you want me to text? I'm like, is there only one person that brings me my stuff?
Your caretaker.
We're wearing blue today too, Brandon. That's really good. Blue is the best. Really.
It is. It's yeah. Thank you for that, Michael. By the way, I need my phone. But Reagan, will you ask her to bring up that teapot? I think I just got a gift in the mail from Michael Weiner.
And Wes Peters.
And Wes Peters? Really?
Correct.
Ask her to bring that up here, please, too.
We ask it.
We went all out.
Our request. That's all. We take care of it.
That was very nice of you. I didn't even have to look. I just knew right away where it came from. So thank you.
Wes is a teapot guy, so what can I tell you?
Yeah. Do you know the little song, I'm a little teapot, short and stout? Here's my handle, here's my spout.
Yep.
You know that one, Reagan? Even Reagan knows that one. Okay, I thought that was generational. All right. Okay. Let's see here. Hey, I got big news for you boys.
Yes.
We announced it at 1 o'clock Central today. We are moving the Worldview Weekend next year to October 3rd and 4th. So Friday night and Saturday. We're moving it here to Collierville, Tennessee, Memphis.
Outstanding.
Really?
Yeah, we figure an airport easier to get in and out of.
And we could stay at Brandon's house. That's great.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
My wife actually said, if you do that, a couple different people are going to try to show up. And I say, sorry, the house is off limits. You'll be more comfortable in a hotel, and so will I. So there you go. But anywho, October 3rd and 4th, Friday night and Saturday, we have a theater here in town, beautiful theater. It only seats 350 people. So when the tickets go on sale, that's it. 350 people is all that's going to fit in. Everybody else will have to live stream it with one of their memberships to our vault. So we're going to do that. We give you easy hotel to get in and out. Memphis, Tennessee, it's centrally located. I mean, FedEx is here. That's how centrally located it is. And the real reason is I'm sick and tired of packing everything up in a 16-foot trailer and hauling everything over there and setting it up. I'm like, I'm so done with this. I'm so done packing all this stuff up. So I'm going to bring it right to my backyard. If y'all want to come see me, great. If not, stream it online. How about that? How about that, Wes?
There you go. There you go.
If you want to come see and be with us in person, great. If you don't, stay at home, because I am. Yeah. I'm staying at home and doing it in my own backyard from now on.
I think it'll definitely be easier to get to for sure.
Yeah, unless, of course, Trump wants me to come down there to Mar-a-Lago and do a Worldview Weekend. Then we could do a Mar-a-Lago Worldview Weekend.
That would be
I'll make
lovely.
a phone call. I'll make a phone call.
I think Wes will stay at your house with you and Melissa. Be great.
That'd be great. Wow.
I already have a guest room. I have a guest room there.
Yeah, that's right.
It's Landon's old bedroom.
Kirk Cameron stayed in that room. DJ from Full House, his sister Candace stayed in that room. David Limbaugh stayed in that room.
Wes Peters stayed in the room.
Peters stays in.
Yep. Michael Reagan came over for dinner, but he didn't stay in that room. So, but it is. I'm like, my wife's like, we should maybe one day move and go somewhere else, get a couple acres. And I'm like, I have too many memories here. Raise my kids and in the house and everything, right?
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Too many memories. All right, here we go. Monday's articles. Did you have a good weekend, guys?
Great.
Is my better half? Is she bringing that stuff up? Do I need to send someone else to get that? You did not get a response yet. Well, how about if you just pick up the phone and call her? You probably didn't hear the text come in. These young people, they don't know how to use the phone unless it's text or social media. You know, I'm kind of like, just call.
Back in the old days, you just yell.
That's right.
Yell down the hall.
Reach out and touch someone.
Careful there, Michael. All right, here we go. You get sued in this day and age, Michael. Here we go. Yeah. Why gold and silver are in the best environment for gains in a decade, according to Citi's commodities research chief. Go ahead, boys. Take this away.
Well, gold and silver are experiencing a rally, with Citi's head of commodities research, Max Layton, predicting future gains. Layton emphasizes that the optimal environment for gold and silver bull markets occurs when the U.S. and European economies weaken while China's economy strengthens. With its current scenario, despite typically bearish factors like higher interest rates and weak Chinese imports, gold has reached record highs, driven by geopolitical tensions, inflation, concerns, and rising U.S. debt. Analysts include those at Bank of America expect gold prices to continue climbing with a forecast of $3,000 per ounce by the end of next year.
By the end of next year? No. It'll hit it before that. That's way too conservative.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you bring me that little tea set that Michael and Wes sent me? I want to show that to the audience.
Also, the other issue that really plays along with gold, and Wes is right, is the fact that gold is being embraced by the world again as a financial instrument. As I said before, when you have the BRICS running 30% of the world reserve currency right now, which never would have happened under Trump, and understand the fact that they are utilizing gold as an integral part of their economies, not only their personal economies, but their currency, their SWIFT system. Anybody who thinks they're going to see a huge drop in gold right now needs a lot of help, because if anything at all, you're going to see big movement. No matter who wins the presidency, you're going to see big movement. Of course, if Minnie Mouse wins, you're going to see huge movement, because she's just going to relinquish everything and China's going to take over all of it. But gold is money, and when it's tied into money, there is nothing to stop it right now. And that's why banks and central banks and governments are literally hugging it tight, because they want to keep whatever they can in their grasp before they can't.
Absolutely. All right, let's see here. Let's go to the next one. Here we go. The largest study ever of universal basic income was just conducted. Tell me what I heard you laugh there, Wes. Go ahead, you take it.
Well, would you be surprised, Brandon, if you give people free money, that's not going to entice them to have work ethic and go out and look for a job even harder if they've got free money coming in?
We have 7 million men, work age men, 7 million missing from the market. They don't even care. They've checked out.
Yeah, right. It's take a look here. It says a recent study on universal basic income conducted by the National Bureau of Economic Research examined the effects of giving $1,000 per month to 1,000 low-income participants over 3 years. Contrary to expectations, the study found that recipients worked less, extended periods of unemployment, and did not achieve significant improvements in education, entrepreneurship, or job quality. Instead, most participants used their extra time for leisure and relaxation. The result challenged the optimistic assumption that UBI would unleash creativity or entrepreneurship, suggesting that UBI may primarily lead to a reduction in labor participation. Imagine that.
That's brilliant.
Pay you to sit home on the couch.
That's yeah.
You know what drives me nuts? And I've said this for years to my wife. Very few people seem to have the drive to be successful. Very few people have the drive to be successful at whatever it is they do. They whether it's a plumber, electrician, carpenter, whatever, they don't seem to have drive to be the best they can be in their field and to be as financially free as they can. People all the time describe wealth. You know, this is wealth. This is someone who is rich. I'll tell you my definition of rich. That is being able to chart your own course, okay? Being able to do what you want to do, pursuing your passions and enjoying your work, picking a career vocation where you feel needed, where you feel that your gifts and abilities are being used, where you're serving other people, where people appreciate your work, appreciate your skill, and being able to do what you want to do, not what someone else tells you you have to do to get that paycheck every 2 weeks. To me, that's real. Being wealthy or rich is being able to chart your own course. That the word is independence, or another word, freedom. To me, that is the key. I know guys that are. I have a guy that does work for me that is an extremely skilled guy. Okay, I mean, he can do brick masonry. He can do backsplash. He can do carpentry, like amazing carpentry, electrical, plumbing. There's nothing he can't do. Nothing he cannot do. He's done all of those things for me. And I tell him all the time, you don't realize how blessed you are. You can do anything. I said, you will never be without enough money to afford a meal and basics of life if that's what you want. Because you could work 7 days a week because nobody knows how, very few people know how to do what you do anymore. Very few people know how to do what he does. And he has no idea. I'm always trying to hammer into his head. He thinks because I'm on TV and I sit in a suit and blah, 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 that, I've got the great job. I'm like, you don't understand. People can get by without watching and listening to me. But they have to have a guy like you that fixes the things that they need fixed. You cannot be replaced by artificial intelligence. I can be. You guys agree?
You're absolutely right. This whole attitude of giving people things, that doesn't empower you to be successful.
No.
What empowers you to, and the American dream is not the government giving you $1,000 a month. The American dream is that little guy working in a bakery who wants to open up his own, saves up his money, develops a program, puts together those dollars, opens up a store, and builds his business. That's what the American dream is, not him getting a check for $1,000 a month so he sits on his rear end. I was saying to a client earlier today about the fact of being older and seeing America the way it used to be and seeing it now. In some ways, it's a blessing because we got to see the real America. And in some ways, it's a horror to seeing this stupidity literally that's going on right now and the logic they try to tie to it. It's absolutely amazing. This is not a America of building people, of building ideas, of rewarding success. It's not that at all. And unless we go back to that type of a situation, that young man or woman that's sitting back and has a dream, it's not going to happen because they're not going to be in a society that's going to let it happen. And it's sad. Yep. I'm done.
Well, people need to have a purpose. And there are very, very, very wealthy people who really have accomplished an awful lot. But at some point, they find out that all the money and all the toys doesn't bring them satisfaction. What they really enjoy is just the challenge of the job. And others, of course, they inherit the money, so they don't value it. They didn't earn it. And we see I know people that have handed their kids. I know some wealthy guys that have handed their money to their children. For some reason, they have not handed it to our foundation. I don't understand that, but they've handed it to their children. No joke. But they've handed millions to their children, and the children have squandered it away, and they're miserable people. So money does not equal, the Bible actually says it this way. This is in the Bible. Godliness plus contentment equals great gain. Did you know that, Reagan? That's a great Bible verse. Godliness plus contentment equals great gain. And that's what we don't have today. People are not seeking godly things, godly priorities, and they're not and they're not content. They don't find things to be content in. And the Bible says to be content working with your hands and staying out of all this drama and just live a quiet life.
The other side of it is that there's a lot of people out there that practice a UBI on their own. I will talk to people all the time, and they'll say to me, well, I've got to take care of my sons, I got to take care of my kids and make sure they don't have any jam ups, and they can have their house, and they can do that, and they can do whatever they have to. I'm going to make it all good for them. That's the worst thing you could do. I've got 4 sons, and guess what? When I sold my company in 2000, my oldest son said to me, Dad, why don't you save the company for me? I said, get your own company, okay? The reality is there's nothing better than achieving on your own.
That's right.
And when you sit back and give people a crutch, that's how come these kids sit on their rear ends, because they're being literally coddled. Like I said, we used to walk to school in the snow a mile away. It's got to be a carpool now. There's nothing wrong with making your children struggle. It makes them better.
Absolutely.
And some people just don't want to hear it. I'm saving I got to give that money to the kids. You know what? My kids can get my money when I'm dead. All right?
Yeah, amen. I say that. That's right. I say that to my kids all the time. When your mom and I are gone, whatever's left over, you guys, it's in the will. But I'm not handing out. No, sorry. When we're done. Because I need to make sure I have enough money to stay in my own home and to hire 24-hour care if that's what I have to do. Do you think with my OCD and cleanliness problem, I'm going to do well in a nursing home? Are you kidding me? Plus, have you seen some of those?
It would be a TV show, really. That'd be like
my word. Oh, my word. Plus, they find out who I am.
I'll pick the place out for you, Brandon.
Yeah, I bet you would, Wes.
I'll find it.
Plus, you get these woke people. Well, I guess the woke people maybe won't work. I don't know. But I'm telling you what, I watch some of these videos on social media, these people abusing these older people. I'm like, let me tell you something. That's where I won't even say what I was thinking. I'm not tolerating that. No, sirree. So people say, my kids are like, you should go do this. You should go do that. I'm like, no interest in that. What are you saving for? I'll tell you, one of the primary things I save for is to have nursing care when I'm old. And I'm not kidding, because I have no desire to go to a nursing home. Truly, that's one of the things I save for in old life is enough to have nursing care and stay at home. I mean, you can relate to that better than anybody, Michael.
Thanks a lot, Brandon. I appreciate all those little thoughts, but I'm taking care of. The only home I'm going to is my own.
There you go. Good. So you're going to do the same thing I'm doing.
I'm not going anywhere. No. Trust me.
You're going to have 24 care too, right?
I don't know, for probably another 100 years, but when I do, I'm definitely going to. So if I plan on haunting you, Brandon, that's all. But at the end of the day,
haunting me
for a while.
I just watched Jim Carrey's The Scrooge last night while I was working. You're gonna be Marley that comes back and haunts me with your chains, your gold chains. Marley.
I know I had a future.
Wes Peters doesn't even know who Marley from The Scrooge is. He has a complete blank stare in his face right now.
So on that subject of
do you know who Marley is from The Scrooge?
Of course I do.
Who was he?
Yeah, he's that one dude that went back and haunted with the chains.
I mean, I've already told you that part.
Scrooge's partner.
That's all you need to know. The rest is history.
Scrooge's partner.
So,
his partner.
Do you think work ethic? We can be shown examples of work ethic and success, but you think that's something that can be taught, or do you think you either have it or you don't?
No, it can be taught. In fact, studies show that children that are given chores at a young age tend to grow up to be great workers and happier people, responsible. No, a work ethic is taught.
Yeah.
Now, there are people who naturally, I think some are born with a drive and but let me just tell you this right now. One of the key things for all entrepreneurs, tell me if you guys disagree, agree or disagree. One of the key things you'll find with entrepreneurs is you'll find someone that's been bullied. And you define bullied however you want, okay? Teachers that bullied them because they showed an interest in things other than sitting in rows and listening for 8 hours a day to all their garbage. And they were, wanting to dream and create and build and thinking about the future, and they were getting ridiculed all the time because they just wouldn't concentrate and on all the school things they do, which have nothing to do with real life, most of it. And they got bullied by teachers. Some of them got bullied by a parent or a sibling. But show me an entrepreneur that's very successful, and I believe high percentages, I'll show you someone that was bullied. And the entrepreneur doesn't want anyone bullying them around. They want to be free to go. Again, that word, freedom and independence.
Well, and then also people that have had bosses and managers that were very incompetent and horrible leaders, and they decide I don't want to be under the control of these morons anymore.
There you go. Amen. So that's a form of bullying, really. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here, let me show you this. I looked it up. 1 Timothy 6:6-11. But godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. Those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. By the way, that's not saying it's wrong to be rich. It's saying in the context, those who drive to only be rich, they fall into great temptation. Nothing wrong with being rich. It's those who want to get rich so badly that that's their only focus. A lot of people that have gotten rich in life have done so as a byproduct of pursuing their dream or their invention. Just along the way, they happen to get rich at it. But they weren't doing it to get rich. They were doing it because they wanted to create a better mousetrap, if you will. For the love of money, it's not money. It's not money. The love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves through with griefs. But I love verse 6, but godliness with contentment equals great gain. So there you go. All right.
Excellent.
Let's see. Let's move on to the next article real quick. What else? We got so many to choose from tonight. Here we go. This is starvation. What is that? Volkswagen Union head warns 3 plants closing, thousands in layoffs amid auto crisis. Tell me about this one. Who read it?
That one is involving the Germans, and it's all within Germany itself. And it goes back to the electric car crises.
Yeah, I saw that.
With this crazy Green New Deal that they come up with, they got a bunch of cars. If you've ever had to go charge your car at one of these off-site billion-dollar charging locations other than Tesla, good luck. It's a battleground because most of these machines do not work. And you sit there for like an hour and 20 minutes. God forbid you got to go somewhere, because forget about it. It's an afternoon event of trying to get your car charged at these chargers. And people will tell you that it's a nightmare. And people don't want them. So all these companies like VW and these other ones have gone into this, and you've got General Motors, who's had all these huge profits, are going to kiss it goodbye for GM, because nobody wants these electric cars. You don't want an electric car until you've owned one. And then once you've owned one, you get a rude awakening, trust me. I have one electric car. It's a nightmare. I'm building a house, so I have to go charge it at the charging stations. It's a social event.
Wait a minute. Why did you ever go do that, Michael? I could have told you that.
Not my control of the person who wanted that car. I just let the person decide.
That sounds like your wife.
She wanted the electric car. She got one.
Well, you know what? Can I just say to you, that's a very wise decision on your part, Michael.
Guess what? Doesn't want one ever again.
Well, there you go. Again, a very wise decision. Thank
you. Thank you. Especially I'm the jerk that's got to go charge it, and then everybody's over there. Are you done? Are you done? Get off the charger. It's a battle. Go get gas, pump it up, leave, and go drive your car. Literally.
Here we go. Let's do this one real quick. Look what the boys sent me. I mentioned that I wanted one of these, and it came in the mail. I saw Vladimir Putin had clear coffee pots the other day. Remember, guys mentioned that? That's pretty cool. Clear coffee pots or teapots. I like tea. My wife and I have green tea every night. That's how we retire in the evening, with green tea. And I saw those.
Fashionable.
I saw those clear pots, and sure enough, a few days later, these showed up in the mail. You guys are nice. Now, since I realize this works, I want a gold Camaro like Jim Rockford had on the Rockford Files. Can you?
Wes will take care of that. Don't worry.
Can you make that happen?
Yeah,
I'll track one down.
Yeah,
what do one of those go for now?
The match
depends on how nice it is.
What?
What was?
Depends on how nice it is. You could go anywhere from $20,000 to over $100,000.
What year was that? About 1976, Rockford?
I think it was in the early 70s.
No. Look up when the Reagan. Look up when the Rockford Files was on TV. Was it? I'd say 75, 76, somewhere in there to the 1980.
71, 72.
Look it up there for me, Reagan, will you? 1974 to 1980. Look at this right there. That one's for sale. Look at that.
Wow.
That's a Firebird.
That's a Firebird. What are they going for now? Let's see here.
What year was that? The show was on from 74 to 80. So you want a 1980?
Yeah. What are they going for now?
I said it. Wes care of it.
Did he have one like this, Reagan?
Look at that 77. That's a nice one too.
What's it going for?
78 Trans Am. Wow.
Reagan, Wes, did you find the price?
I'm looking.
Hold that down, Reagan. I'll go back in and search. I can probably go faster than Mr. Weiner there. That's a Camaro, right?
Firebird. Firebird.
Is it a Camaro or a Firebird?
Firebird. Let's see.
You know what? This is an interesting show here in itself. This is financial because I like to know what they went for, what they're going for today. Would this have been an investment?
Probably been about $6,000.
I have a client, Brandon.
Yeah.
Made good money his whole life. Lived in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
He said, Wes, I never put a penny in a 401k, an IRA, or anything.
He put them all in collectible cars.
Muscle cars back in the 70s. He lived on a farm, and they had a big old barn. He said, I'd buy a brand new Camaro or a Firebird or whatever, GTO Judge, a Barracuda. I'd drive it for a year and a half till my new one came in, and I would park it. And now that he's retired, he sells a car that has very few, 10,000 miles on it. That's like brand new. He said, yeah, I might have to give you some more money. I just sold one of my 70 Chevelles for $200,000.
Oh my, what did he pay for it?
Oh, back then, less than 10 grand probably.
Yeah.
$6,000 probably.
Yeah, and I'm having a hard time finding what they're worth now. What they go for now?
Probably 30.
Probably 30?
Yeah.
Wait, here's one. Buy this 78 Firebird. What's it going for?
Here's one for 50, 31, 22, 40, 50.
Okay, so if they're in mint condition, you're in that 40,000 range. Wonder what they went for brand new in 78. Wow. All right, that's it. Get your free packet of information. 602-558-8585. This is a great show. I love it. Take care. Please go join the vault and get access to 20 plus years of programming, radio shows, TV shows, ebooks, audiobooks, transcripts, and more, and start live streaming Friday night, our Ozark event, Saturday, and then Sunday morning. Join the year at the year rate. Join at the year rate, and you can live stream the entire weekend. And by the way, we're going to be doing some more live streaming only events in the coming weeks. because we've got to increase our memberships to this vault, because we've got to generate the revenue to bring in the $40,000 a month that it costs us to run this network. Hard cost. That does not include my compensation in that $40,000, my salary, my time. That's just my hard cost of paying everybody else, and all the bandwidth bills, all the utility bills, all the insurance, all the different licenses we have to have, from B-roll footage to all the artwork, the editors, all of it, the associate producers. It's $40,000 a month, right around that ballpark, to keep this network going. I need your support. Go join the Worldview Tube right now at the year level, please, and then stream this weekend. Worldviewtube.com/vault, worldviewtube.com/vault. $95.88 a year. I should have thousands upon thousands of you that are members at $95.88 a year to join. That's a very reasonable one-year price for all we give away. So please go join right now, worldviewtube.com/vault. Please go do that right now. It's vital that we have your support.
You're listening to the J.D. Rucker Show. Let's begin. It's the inflation, stupid. Those are the words of the horrible man, but very smart man, James Carville, referring to his successful campaigns with Bill Clinton. They were able to do a lot of things, and they did focus on the economy, and that has been the truth since long before James Carville, and will remain the truth long after James Carville. The economy does have the greatest impact of anything on elections generally. This year might be the first time in a long time that illegal aliens, illegal immigration, the border crisis might actually supersede the horrible economy in the minds of many Americans. But I would still say that the economy is the number one factor when driving people to make decisions at the polls. We look in our pocketbooks, we look in our wallets, we look in our bank accounts, we look at our bills, we struggle. We're struggling. Americans are struggling. Not all Americans. The super rich are definitely not struggling. They have benefited greatly from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in office. But for the rest of us, we are struggling. And here's the challenge, is that the worst days could be ahead of us, even if Trump wins. I want to be very clear. I will take Trump over Kamala when it comes to the economy every time. I'm not even going to say 99 times out of 100. It'll be 100 times out of 100 if given the choice between Donald Trump and his economic policies versus Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or pretty much any Democrat. I will take Trump every single time. With that said, he's got a lot. I mean, this isn't like inheriting the 2016, the Obama economy, which is already bad enough. This is far, 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 far worse. And there are risks down the road, which, to be clear, should be even more reason. This should be the absolute positive rallying cry to anybody who's even thinking about voting for Kamala Harris. If they are concerned about the economy, they need to understand that as bad as it's been under Joe Biden, as much of a continuation as Kamala Harris has basically promised that she will be when it comes to fiscal policies, it's going to be far worse for her if she were to be installed as president, because the economic catastrophes on the horizon greatly outweigh everything that we've already experienced for the last 4 years. In other words, it can get very much worse. This is why even with Trump, it's not like we're out of the woods. Oh, Trump's in and happy days, happy times, economy is going to just suddenly boom. There are aspects of the economy that will boom literally from day one. I mean, the moment that it's declared that he won the election, we will see certain economic indicators start to skyrocket. That's the Trump effect. And that's something that, frankly, at least in my lifetime, I've never seen. I've never seen anyone impact the economy just with their presence, negatively or positively, the way that Trump does. Trump's persona allows him to instill in the American people, whether they're Democrats, Republicans, Independents, or whatever, it instills confidence in the future of our financial well-being here in the United States. They won't admit it if they're on the left, but they do believe it. They know it. Many of them do. Some of them still think, oh my gosh, if Trump gets into office, we're going to be bankrupt as a nation. I've actually heard that argument multiple times, especially when you have the bought and paid for Harvard economists that will say anything they're told to say. You know, they're worse. Leftist economists are worse than climate change scientists when it comes to just spewing out whatever the partisan line is, whatever the political line is. They don't actually care about their credibility because they know they're not going to get called out in corporate media. And they know that they're not going to be lambasted, just like any climate scientist that says, "Oh, climate change is killing us." They face zero repercussions and they have great benefits that are given to them. Same thing with leftist economists. They don't. I mean, look at Paul Krugman. Don't even get me started. International Man, Doug Casey's International Man. You can find this over at internationalman.com. Put together a list. Actually, it was Nick Giambruno, very smart dude. Is the dollar collapsing? 7 key indicators you can't ignore. And again, this is over at internationalman.com. There's an outline, but we're just going to buzz through these indicators. Number 1, federal budget deficits. Okay. Chart below shows yada, yada, yada. I don't have to tell you. The federal budget deficit is tremendous, and it's something that outside. I mean, we're approaching COVID numbers, to put it in perspective. And COVID numbers were horrible, and Donald Trump even addressed it to some extent during his interview with Joe Rogan. And he said, "Look, we were doing great up until the point where, up until the point where COVID was unleashed, in my humble opinion, to derail him." Number 2, federal debt. Debt itself. Federal debt has exceeded $35 trillion. $35 trillion. I remember when we crossed 10 trillion, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's Armageddon. We're well beyond the point of no return. You know, pack it up. Well, 35 trillion, let me just tell you, we truly, legitimately might actually be beyond the point of no return. It will take fiscal maneuvering and an act of God for us to be able to truly recover from this tremendous federal debt that we've accumulated. It represents 123% of gross domestic product right now. It's important to remember that GDP is a flawed statistic. For example, it counts government spending as a positive. Oh, don't get me started. A more honest measure would count government spending as a big negative, as it compounds the debt spiral. And the U.S. government spending accounts for at least 37% of the GDP. Number 3, federal interest expense. It's interesting. Annualized interest on the federal debt exceeds $1 trillion. It's for the first time, and it's shooting higher. The interest cost in the federal debt is already the U.S. government's second largest expenditure, larger than even the defense budget. Interest expense is set to exceed Social Security and become the biggest federal expenditure in the coming months. In other words, our biggest expenditure by the federal government will have zero impact on anything in our lives. It's not going to fund defense. It's not going to fund Social Security. It's not going to fund Medicare. It's not going to fund any of that stuff. It's not going to be used to build roads. It's just going to be used to pay back interest on money that we've already borrowed. Let that sink in. Please let that sink in. I know that phrase is used far too often, but this time I really do want you to let that sink in. The biggest expenditure by our federal government, we're months away from this, will be paying back money that we've already spent. Paying back interest on money that will not affect you or me. It already has, and usually negatively. Number 4, the federal funds rate. Now, this is an important one. In the wake of the 2008 financial crisis, the Fed brought interest rates to roughly 0% and then held them there for years. Then, in late 2015, they started a rate hiking cycle that lasted until the repo market turmoil in late 2019. After the outbreak of the COVID mass psychosis in early 2020, the Fed brought interest rates back down to around 0%. Inflation subsequently hit 40-year highs in 2022, forcing the Fed into another rate hiking cycle, one of the steepest in history. In the last 18 months, the Fed hiked rates from 0 to 5%. The Fed has now pivoted back to monetary easing and rate cuts without having defeated inflation, which is important to note. Okay, you raise interest rates to try to lower inflation. They raised interest rates. It didn't lower inflation at all. Now, some would argue, obviously many would argue, that inflation would have been higher if they didn't raise rates, and that's true. It's very true. But how can inflation be so high? So high that even a 5% cumulative rate increase wasn't able to rein it in. The answer, of course, is money printing. We'll discuss that some other day. And Lord willing, Trump will figure out a way to put an end to that immediately, or else it would be ironic if the United States of America was forced into modern monetary theory, modern monetary policy, money printing for the sake of money printing under a Trump administration. I don't think it'll happen, but there may be no other choice at some point in the near future. And there was always a choice. You cut government. You cut government by a lot, by like 95%. That's your solution. Then you can focus on tariffs. You can get rid of income tax. You can do all the things that Trump wants to do. You just have to cut, we'll say 85 to 95% of the federal government. And then we'll get there. And it's doable. And the vast majority of things that they would cut, you would never notice it. They can make certain departments, certain agencies completely disappear overnight. And if the news didn't tell us about it, if DC didn't mention it, the only people that would know are the people that got fired. Yeah. Number 5, money supply. This is the big one. The skyrocketing interest. The skyrocketing interest. It's making me speak different languages. The skyrocketing interest expense forced the Fed to implement interest cost control policies which inflate the money supply. This included buying treasuries and money that Fed creates out of thin air and similar measures. No matter what the Fed calls it, the only way they can try to control interest rates is to inflate the money supply. Remember, the Fed has only 2 tools in its toolbox: currency debasement and gaslighting. Since 2020, the U.S. money supply has skyrocketed by 37%, an incredible change in such a short period of time. 37%, in other words, there's 37% more dollars floating around in the world today than there was in 2020. It's mind-boggling. If your after-tax wealth has not increased by 37% since 2020, then you are not keeping up with the Fed's monetary debasement. You are losing ground and on the road to serfdom. We are already there, unfortunately. Number 6, consumer price index. The consumer price index is the most politically manipulated statistic in all of government. I would debate that. There are other ones, but it is important. That is saying something because many, I agree. That is saying something because many government statistics are completely manipulated, but inflation, as measured by the CPI, is probably the most manipulated. It's your front facing, it's your media number. This is the news number, not the real number. CPI is a basket of prices trying to measure the average price changes for 340 million Americans. It's an impossible task because every individual has a different price basket. Consider someone who lives in New York City compared to someone who lives in rural Montana. You have totally different price baskets. Using the CPI as a measure of price increases for 340 million people is even more preposterous when taking the average temperature across 50 states in the U.S. as a meaningful statistic to determine what clothes you should wear today. Further, the government gets to cherry pick what items go in the CPI basket and their weightings. It's like letting a student grade his own paper, and that's what I mean when I say it's the public-facing, the press's version of inflation. That's it. In short, the CPI is misleading government propaganda intended to conceal the government's atrocious currency debasement. All that being said, it is useful to monitor the CPI not as a meaningful metric to gauge inflation, but as a metric to analyze the Fed's actions and their gaslighting. And you can see there. Indicator number 7, the price of the gold price. Gold is mankind's most enduring form of money for over 5,000 years because of unique characteristics that made it best suited to store and exchange value. Gold is durable, divisible, consistent, convenient, scarce, and most importantly, the hardest of all physical commodities. In other words, gold is the only physical commodity that is the hardest to produce relative to existing stockpiles, and therefore the most resistant to debasement. Gold is indestructible. and its stockpiles have built up over thousands of years. That's a big reason why the growth of new gold supply, typically 1-2% per year, is insignificant. In other words, people can arbitrarily inflate the supply. Or, I'm sorry, nobody can arbitrarily. I was going to say, what? In other words, nobody can arbitrarily inflate the supply the way they can do with fiat currency, the way they can do with many cryptocurrencies. Not all of them, but many cryptocurrencies can be artificially inflated. There's a lot of things that can be artificially inflated. Don't even get me started on diamonds. Someday I'm going to have a discussion about the diamond market, the history of diamonds. This is I would say the greatest financial con job that has persisted for decades, the greatest financial con job in the history of man. It's so funny. It's so amazing. And yeah, my wife still loves them, so I still buy them for her when I can. It's been a while. People in every country in the world value gold, yada, yada, yada. Let's get to the point here, guys. Price of gold per ounce. You can see there. Yeah, okay, got it. So you see here, there's the start of President Trump's first term. Shoots up, then it drops down. Now it's been skyrocketing. Once people realize basically that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are absolute disasters, they started getting into gold. And when I say people, I'm talking about central banks, entire countries, gold and silver. Silver has a lot of utility as well. Between the two, there's been a huge spike in interest. Let's just put it at that. The bottom line is this: is that there are every indicator out there that we're seeing, every single indicator out there that we're seeing is pointing to massive challenges. And as much as I'd love to say that Trump's going to come in and fix it all, it's going to take time. And he's going to be faced with different types of challenges the moment that he wins the election. The mass turmoil that will get started, they're going to try to take out the supply chain. They're going to try to take out the entire economy. They're going to try to take out the United States of America, period. So he's already going to face that. And he's going to, unfortunately, there's going to be a ramp-up period where he's not going to be able to do much. We're going to have to rely on even if he wins, we're going to have to rely on the Biden-Harris regime to quell the uprisings that will spring up. And if anything, we're seeing the exact opposite. It's as if they're actually getting ready to try to promote uprisings. It only makes sense if you understand their true motivations, their true allegiances have nothing to do with helping the United States of America and everything to do with helping themselves and serving the globalist elite cabal. Hopefully by now most of you are very well aware that I own a prepper beef company, a company that specializes in not just long-term storage beef, but the good stuff. We're talking about ribeye, New York strip, tenderloin, sirloin. We're not talking about beef chunks. We're not talking about beef crumbles, which, to be fair, are absolutely disgusting. We're talking about the real stuff, the good stuff, the Glengarry leads of beef, okay? And it's all American. There's no mRNA jabs. It's and when I say all American, it's all Texan. So that just to differentiate there, make sure that we know that it's not some Connecticut beef. Nothing wrong with people in Connecticut, but I wouldn't buy Connecticut beef anyway. Sorry, everybody I think knows about that, and you can always go to worldviewbeef.com, worldviewbeef.com. Use promo code JDR at checkout, and you'll get the maximum discount at any given moment. Okay? We know that. But I know that not everybody likes just beef. I mean, it'd be nice if you did, but you need more than that. So we have put together a new page on my website. Go to jdrucker.com/food, jdrucker.com/food, and we actually recommend some other products, other companies that do offer long-term storage food of various sorts. As much as I would love to be able to say man can live by beef alone, that would, number one, be blasphemous, but it would also be mostly incorrect, and it doesn't add to variety. I mean, as much as I love to eat our beef, I only eat it probably 2 or 3 times a week. I don't eat it every single day, every single meal. And Lord willing, I'll never have to. But go check it out, jdrucker.com/food, worldviewbeef.com. Either way, you win. So generally speaking, I like Congresswoman Beth Van Duyne. I think that her heart is in the right place. I think she's a little rhino-ish with some of her policies, but maybe very rhino-ish. But she's about middle of the pack. Yeah, there are a lot worse Congress people on Capitol Hill than Beth Van Dyne, but I really didn't like her answer, or really her non-answer, when she was asked by Marita Bartiromo over at Fox Business about what's happening with inflation, how it's affecting retirement accounts, and whatnot. Watch.
The Biden-Harris administration's policy also having a negative impact on seniors and their ability to retire. According to a new report from economist E.J. Antoni, retirement plan balances have increased nearly $30 trillion by the third quarter of 2024. But after adjusting for inflation, the retirement plans are worth $27 trillion. That's a $2.5 trillion loss.
You know what? I disliked her answer so much, I'm not even going to play it, because it really was a non-answer. It's just gobbledygook about how she's got legislation that's going to help small businesses and this, that, or the other. And these are great. I'm not ripping on what she wants to do, but she did not address the issue whatsoever. And the issue being how massive inflation is affecting retirement accounts. We look at our IRAs, our 401ks, and we say, oh, okay, things are doing okay. You know, it's not bad. The stock market's doing okay. You know, maybe we'll wait it out. Maybe we'll see what happens with the election. But here's the thing, and I cannot stress this enough. I've said this before. I've said this for weeks now. There are many reasons, obviously, that I am praying and very hopeful that Donald Trump is able to win the election. But even if he does, retirement accounts are still going to have massive challenges. So here's the two scenarios. Trump wins the election. We have mass turmoil. Okay, there's nothing he can do about it. Before he's even inaugurated, they're going to be rioting. They're going to be trying to destroy this nation, take down the economy, to destroy the supply chain. They're going to be doing things because they're going to be just filled with rage. They being not just the upset Democrats. I'm talking about actual provocateurs, paid provocateurs, such as Antifa, BLM, people that George Soros and the globalist elite cabal want to use to take this moment in time and try to destroy the United States of America. And this is going to have massive impacts on many things, including the stock market, including retirement accounts, including the price of gold and silver. Okay. And I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not telling you, gold and silver is going to go up. But look, that's not just me. That's what a lot of people are saying. I would say most people are saying. They look back at Trump's first term when gold alone rose 51% from the time he came into office until he left. They look at what's happening right now with inflation and everything, and they know that he can do stuff about it. He's going to be able to fix a lot of these things, but it's going to take time. And perhaps more importantly, when it comes to retirements, when it comes to gold and silver, it's not like, okay, so Trump's going to fix the economy and all of a sudden gold and silver are going to drop. That's not what's going to happen. And if, God forbid, Kamala Harris wins the election, well, then we are in deep trouble. The stock market will react negatively, we'll say. And retirement accounts are going to be decimated even more. Inflation is going to skyrocket. And gold and silver are, once again, still going to look good. So it's sort of like, when I hear people, I don't want to do anything with my retirement. I don't want to do anything with my wealth. I don't want to buy gold and silver just yet. Wait till after the election. I'm thinking, oh, wow, I don't know about that. So like, you know what? I'll get my flood insurance after it rains. Like doesn't make any sense. And I'll admit, I stole that quote from Jonathan Rose, CEO of Genesis Gold Group, and they are helping people every single day with retirement accounts. You can always reach out to them, contact them at rumblegold.com, and that will get you your wealth protection kit and all that good stuff. And I transitioned inadvertently into an ad. This is really, the focus here is that Republicans and Democrats, they really have no idea. But even Republicans like Beth Van Dyne, when it comes to inflation, they have ideas. Okay, they think that if Trump is reelected, that things are gonna shift, and they're not wrong. But it's not going to be sudden. And it's definitely not going to be like, oh my gosh, boom. There are a lot of things that will go boom as soon as Trump is elected, especially as it pertains to the economy. There's going to be hope, and hope drives economic growth. But one thing that's not going to suddenly disappear is massive inflation. One thing that's definitely not going to disappear is the risk to the stock market. It's not going to be like if Kamala wins. Don't get me wrong. But we've experienced what I consider to be a very inflated stock market for a long time. Inflated by inflation. I know it sounds weird, but you see stock market gains, but they're not gaining nearly as fast as the inflation itself. So are people really making money? At least according to the retirement accounts. And Maria Bartiromo, the answer currently is no. Inflation is affecting all of us, but it's also not just individuals, it's affecting businesses as well. And entire industries are crumbling under the weight of Kamalanomics. But the automotive industry gets the double whammy. Not only are they stuck with this horrible economy, at least for the time being, but they're also having to contend with Kamala's ambitions with her Green New Future. The Green New Deal, of course, she was one of the co-sponsors, architects of the Green New Deal from the Senate when she was there, and now she and Dementia Joe are trying to force feed electric vehicles not only onto consumers but also onto automakers. This has made it to where it's cost prohibitive to buy a new car for millions of Americans. There was a time not too long ago when somebody could go buy a new car and not have to be making $200,000 a year. Now that's a challenge. Now, between all of the various aspects of the economic distress that we're facing, it is becoming hard. And it's like a spiraling effect, a domino effect on the automotive industry, because they have to raise prices due to inflation. And by raising prices, they're selling fewer cars. So now they've got to either raise prices some more or cut production or cut people. And it's just an economic disaster. The electric vehicle aspect of it has only made things worse. Ireland Owens from Daily Caller News Foundation wrote an article very recently. We have it republished with permission over at thelibertydaily.com. Ford hemorrhages another $1.2 billion in EVs as market struggles continue. Ford Motor Company lost another $1.2 billion on electric vehicles in the third quarter, according to a Monday press release. Company's net income also fell to $0.9 billion. When was the last time you heard of them on the other side of $1 billion? They don't even use the right number of 900 million. They're so used to dealing in billions that they didn't know what to do. $0.9 billion, down $0.3 billion from the third quarter of 2023, according to the press release. So year over year, we're talking about what? That's 25% drop in net income. The loss was largely due to a $1 billion charge related to EVs, according to the release. Ford's earnings before interest and taxes for the full year is expected to be around $9 billion for Ford Pro, while Model E, the company's electric vehicle division, is expected to have a loss of about $5 billion for the whole year, according to the release. So other parts of the company doing okay. Okay, they're struggling through, but they're making it. $9 billion in earnings before interest and taxes, but then they take a $5 billion hit because they're being force-fed. And I don't want to make them sound like the victims, because all of them jumped on board. They were all like, "Oh yeah, totally, sign us up. We're in for this electric vehicle revolution." They saw dollar signs. They heard promises from Kamala and Trader Joe. Of course, those promises did not materialize because, let's face it, people don't want them. There's too many risks. Too many risks when it comes to buying an electric vehicle today. I do think that electric is the future. But we're talking about 10, 20 years down the line. Okay? It's not the future today by any means. Apologies for that. I should have had that turned off. We are in a strong position with Ford Plus as our industry undergoes a sweeping transformation. It's according to Jim Farley, President and CEO at Ford. We've made strategic decisions and taken the tough actions to create advantages for Ford versus the competition in key areas like Ford Pro, international operations, software, and next-generation electric vehicles. And that's the key, next generation. Get out of it today, reset, recover, figure it out, and let's come up with safer, more range-efficient electric vehicles that are less expensive, especially from a maintenance perspective. And let's make sure we have the infrastructure in place before we start trying to force. And then, even then, we should never try to force feed electric vehicles onto anybody. I myself will never own an electric vehicle, Lord willing. Back to the quote. Importantly, over time, we have significant financial upside as we bend the curve on cost and quality, a key focus for our team. So they're trying. And let's be clear. The automotive industry has been on the cutting edge of innovation, not just with technology, but also when it comes to business models, when it comes to trade and everything. I mean, they've always done a very good job. And I would say that that the key to their ongoing demise really started with NAFTA, but that's a discussion for another day. Let's focus on today. It is the electric vehicles being force-fed onto them and thus being force-fed onto us. That's harming them. Plus, combine that with inflation and Kamalanomics, and we are facing I would say not necessarily an existential threat in the automotive industry, but I would not be shocked if one of the majors from Detroit here in the next 2 to 3 years is not able to recover, especially if Kamala wins. Now, look, Michigan and American automotive industry in general is going to skyrocket. I truly believe that if Donald Trump is elected. I think that his policies, everything that I've heard so far that can affect the automotive industry, have been extremely positive. Some would say, well, but he's going to raise costs because he's going to make it to where they have to build in America. And I would argue that, especially in the long term, that's not going to raise costs at all. That the automotive industry, being as innovative as it has been over the decades, that any cost hikes will be mitigated by the improvements to the economy, the increases in sales, and the overall well-being of the fiscal United States of America.
Please go join the vault and get access to 20 plus years of programming, radio shows, TV shows, ebooks, audiobooks, transcripts, and more, and start live streaming Friday night, our Ozark event, Saturday, and then Sunday morning. Join the year at the year rate. Join at the year rate, and you can live stream the entire weekend. And by the way, we're going to be doing some more live streaming only events in the coming weeks, because we've got to increase our memberships to this vault, because we've got to generate the revenue to bring in the $40,000 a month that it costs us to run this network. Hard cost. That does not include my compensation in that $40,000, my salary, my time. That's just my hard cost of paying everybody else, and all the bandwidth bills, all the utility bills, all the insurance, all the different licenses we have to have, from B-roll footage to all the artwork, the editors, all of it. The associate producers. It's $40 grand a month, right around that ballpark, to keep this network going. I need your support. Go join the World YouTube right now at the year level, please, and then stream this weekend. worldviewtube.com/vault, worldviewtube.com/vault. $95.88 a year. I should have thousands upon thousands of you that are members at $95.88 a year to join. That's a very reasonable 1-year price for all we give away. So please go join right now, worldviewtube.com/vault. Please go do that right now. It's vital that we have your support.